Welcome back as we dive into a very important conversation because so many people are affected by this. Living with allergies is like mastering a symphony. With the right notes, you can orchestrate harmony amidst all the sneezes and the sniffles. There is hope, light at the end of the tunnel. And joining us as we unpack this topic this morning, treating allergies, we welcome back one of our favorites, Professor Claudia Gray, and then blogger and mom of three. Yep, we're testing her in the coalface, Lulwando Tukwayo. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Your personal experience, because we can joke all we want about allergies, but when it hits and it hits hard, it can have devastating effects. So how the world of allergies played out in your world?
I struggle with allergies myself and my kids. It's a funny thing because I had moved to Johannesburg and I was okay. And then we relocated back to Cape Town. My kids started sniffing. I'm like, what is going on? And you never really know what to do with your kids at first because I thought they were having a flu or hay fever, but it was actually allergies.
How have you mitigated those effects? What was your first go-to? Talk us through that journey.
One thing is to actually understand that these are allergies. This is not a cold.
Diagnosis.
Yes, the proper diagnosis. And also, before you go to bed, take something for your allergies. And in the morning as well. So my kids during breakfast, just when they finish having their breakfast, I make sure that I give them something so that they can manage it throughout the day. It's seasonal for my kids, so it's not every, throughout the year. So it's also understanding which season, which child. I mean, it does take a lot of preparation, but, one of my kids also, it's dust that makes them react, yes. Yeah. So understanding that when, they will be in a dusty place, I need to make sure that I've kept, the medication for them and I'm able to give it to them prior to them being exposed.
I love that. The fact that we've got a tool to use proactively is just amazing to me. When we talk about antihistamines in particular, that's always the go-to. I have no idea what that even means. What is a histamine and why are we so anti them? So what actually happens? Because that seems to be the silver bullet here.
So let's start right in the beginning. Histamine is a chemical, so it's one of the main chemicals released during an allergic reaction. Histamines attach to various receptors, but when they activate those receptors, it causes the release of a whole bunch of chemicals, and those chemicals cause us to itch. They cause us to sneeze. They stimulate the nerve endings. They can even cause the chest to close. They can cause redness. They can cause runny noses. And the way histamine works, it needs to attach to a receptor. So I guess we can think about it as a room full of chemicals waiting to be released with a locked door. And the histamine is the key, and it unlocks the door and releases those chemicals. Go play. Go cause trouble. An antihistamine blocks that lock, blocks those chemicals from being released. Of course, you can use it in an emergency. When those chemicals are already running rampant, you can try and calm them down. But the best way of using an antihistamine is actually in anticipation of a reaction. So if you're aware of the fact that you have a seasonal grass pollen allergy, which starts in September every year, from mid-August, you can start taking your antihistamine. If you have something like a dust mite allergy, which is all year round, you're better off taking it all year round.
All year round. Completely. I love that there is help at hand and every person is different. I wanted to know from you, now that you've found a system of management, what difference have you seen in your kids and in your own experience?
Yeah. When I started managing the allergies, we went to different doctors and they started prescribing some medications that make them drowsy. I didn't like how it made them feel because you can see that the energies are down, even with myself. If I can get drowsy, how much more, with my kids. Then I stumbled upon this amazing Telfast, which is non-drowsy. So now I can see my kids are happy. I can give them the medication and they're back in sports. My son plays all the sports you can think of.
And then the mental health is great
as well.
Health, I love that. It's a complete spectrum. Compared to the predecessors in this space, how much of a leap forward has there been?
So many, many years ago, I think in the 60s, we had our first generation antihistamines. Now, the problem with those is they did block that keyhole, but they also blocked a whole lot of other keyholes as well. So you got lots of side effects, and they're passed into the brain. And then we got more clever, and we adapted the first generation and got second generation, so much more specific molecules. However, even in the second generation antihistamines, they're excellent, but 10 to 30% of people can still feel drowsy with some of them. And then as generations develop, they generally become better. So now we're on the third generation antihistamines. So these are much more specific. They have other beneficial effects often, like an anti-inflammatory effect, and they generally don't pass into the brain, so they can't cause sedation. So they just become more specific and more superior, if you think about the S's, and with fewer side effects, keeping us smart.
I've been taking mental notes for my kids so that we can be preemptive in our space as well. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. I know a lot of people will identify with different elements of this. Prof, we love having you. Thank you so much for being our plug-in. I think finding that harmony amidst the sneezes and the sniffles is definitely within reach. With mom-tested strategies and some expert insights, allergies are no match. We're talking third generation now. We have got the tools to fight back.
Don't settle for less when it comes to your family's allergy relief. Nothing beats Telfast for fast, non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief that can help your family live their greatness.